Hello everybody and welcome back to Let's Play Rule Waves 3 as Japan. So it is May 1968. The US has joined in a couple of turns back. I don't think we've really fought them so far. But they're here, technically speaking, and they have a massive fleet currently situated in the Central Pacific. It used to be on the North American East Coast, then it went around South America to the West Coast. But now it's heading into the Central Pacific, which means it's probably heading into either the South Pacific or Southeast Asia. I'm inclined to say probably Southeast Asia, because if they wanted to go into the South Pacific, they could have just saved themselves a couple of turns, especially considering that the South Pacific and North American West Coast do have a link, so they realistically would have just headed straight for the South Pacific if they wanted to go there. So I'm inclined to say that they're probably heading for Southeast Asia, because Hawaii does not have the basing capacity to actually maintain a fleet this large. I'm actually a little bit shocked that they're moving it all as is instead of moving it piecemeal, because by moving it large like this, they're potentially increasing the chance that they get those so-and-so ship needed to, intern at a neutral port due to mechanical issues, due to lack of fuel, or whatever the case may be. All of which are things that will keep a ship out of the game for the rest of the war. They won't come back until after the war is over. And you know what? The more American ships that end up being interned in neutral ports, the better for us. I don't care if it's a Spanish port or a Chinese port. I really don't. It can even be a straight up neutral port. Also, I'm curious, where did that American ship that had to intern in a neutral port in Southern Africa go? Because the only neutral port at the time would have been a German port. German Southwest Africa. And now the Americans have declared war on Germany. So there's an American ship in a German port in Southern Africa. Germany, you know you need to board that ship and take it over by force so you can sail it to Northern Europe, or give it to me. I'm fine with that too. And, let us go ham with it. But nonetheless, let's go ahead and continue on, and I need to get my timer started because I forgot to actually press the start button on it, as per usual, because for some reason I like to go ahead and start talking before I actually press the start button. Whatever, let's go. Oh, the US declined that. That's interesting. Auto-resolve, don't care to fight that. Studies of enemy ships and tactics have helped our research in light forces and torpedo warfare. I don't know how. I don't think there's anything there. Oh, there we go. We now have close-in weapon systems. Also, I like how it allows the mounting of close-in weapon systems for missile defense, because the S in CIWS stands for system. So it's like an ATM machine, even though the M in ATM means machine, because it's an automatic teller machine, or automated teller machine. So, yeah. But hey, we got that. Too bad we can't actually fit on any of our ships right now because we're in the middle of a war. British lost a corvette in Northern Europe. I don't know what fighting could be taking place in the Caribbean between the US and Germany, but okay. I guess I'll just believe you guys on that one. We still maintain an edge in electronic warfare, which is always great. Okay, they headed back to Northwest Europe. Or, excuse me, the North American West Coast, not Northwest Europe. Northwest Europe is not its own region. Yet. Although I don't know really what would be the point of that. That would basically just be Iceland. But hey, whatever floats your boat. Now here's the thing. I'm going to probably get rid of one of these air bases. I don't think we need both. I'm inclined to probably get rid of the one on the northeastern coast. Just because that area is already sort of covered by Rangoon, and the reality is the one in Colombo is also going to already have coverage of that, or at least a good portion of it, and when combined with Rangoon is going to more than make up for it. So that's just whatever. So let's scrap that one. I don't know why we have 3 air bases in Malaya. I know why we do. I think it's stupid. The reality is Singapore already provides an air base. I don't think we need the one in Malacca because it's already close enough to Singapore. And Penang. I suppose Penang can be useful, potentially. Although I don't think fighting typically takes place that far north. The reality is I think most fighting takes place closer to Malacca, in which case the Malacca airbase is useful. But we've already scrapped it because I don't think it's all that useful, actually. Just due to the coverage that we already get from Singapore, as mentioned. Let's see. Yeah, okay. I think we're gonna go ahead and probably also just leave these air bases with their current capacity. So auto add, and auto add. Oh, and same with you. There we go. That's all fine and dandy. Okay. I don't really have much in the way of air bases in the South Pacific. Now, curious. Yeah, the Americans can field a sizable fleet in the South Pacific because Britain has 315 base capacity because of New Zealand, and Eastern Australia giving a combined 300 base capacity. The South Pacific is not a fun place to try to fight because we can't invade those. We can only take them during peace, and the reality is you'd basically have to take nothing else or get a ludicrously good peace deal that gives you a lot more than 10 VP, which, or not VP, but value, I guess. Which I don't see happening. I really don't. But okay, let's go ahead and continue on. We need to have a good show of force against the US. Oh, you're gonna actually fight this. That's surprising, honestly. I have 2 CLs against the supposed BC and a CV, which I don't think is true. These are the older Unebe class. Oh, and in Akitsushima. This thing is ancient. Oh, okay, yep. I don't know why the game gave us an actual battle there, but I think we're going to maybe get more... Oh, actually, we're going to get no VP for that, which is fun because... Screw you, game. Really? I think I should get the VP for that. Yes, we managed to successfully hold Singapore. which is going to cut into the Americans' ability to station ships in. Well, I say that it was already cutting into it because we already owned it. We just prevented them from being able to station more. Yeah, okay, so the US seems to have realized they can't really do anything in this war. Because they just don't really have anywhere they can station a fleet. At least long term. I mean, again, they can put stuff where they go over base capacity, but good luck stationing anything there for an extended period. Because then you're just going to start losing ships. You know, they're going to need to scuttle due to lack of fuel. They're going to need to be interned in a neutral port and blah, 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 blah. So it's just, it's not going to work out well for them. It really isn't. We're going to further decrease our research budget because we don't need to really do a whole lot of research at this point. There really isn't much in the way of tech. And by that, I mean, I think there's actually like none left. God, we still have a fairly silly naval budget for Japan, if we're completely honest. It really is. It's only about half of the Americans. Granted, they have 3 times the fleet tonnage. But it's still silly all around. Ooh, Spain managed to get up to average. Good for Spain. I don't even know what the hell is there. Why? What the hell was that? Is there actually a CV up there? I have a hard time believing that. Strikes and anti-war demonstrations are rumored to take place in Great Britain. Wonderful. We should not let them off lightly. Continued operations will secure our total victory. Germany, I just need you to survive until the British end up destroying themselves due to revolt. Okay, we'll kick our naval budget back, or our research budget back up a little bit because we have the money again. I say that, but I'm immediately considering spending it on invading another place that I don't really need to invade, but I want to do it because why not? Do we take Madagascar because we can? Do we then invade South Africa, which is for some reason misspelled with 2 I's when you actually look at the possession? And I don't know if maybe it, well, no, it doesn't have anything to do with the map area having the same name because the map area doesn't have the same name. It's just actually misspelled. That's, I never noticed that before. Was it always that way or did it happen after an update? We're taking that naval budget back. We're going to invade. Well, in terms of a place that I can invade without any consideration of, well, waiting, Papua seems like the obvious choice. That seems a lot larger than what you claimed that they originally had their game, so I have a hard time believing that that's accurate in any way. You claimed they had an AV initially. Then you changed your claim to now saying that they have a dreadnought and some other stuff. And I call bull. I legitimately call bull on that. I really do. And what was it? It was a Corvette. What type of Corvette? A 600-ton Corvette. Probably a minesweeper. Well, actually, no, probably an ASW, rather, excuse me. Also, again, the number of missiles we fired at that... Oh, game, that's way too many missiles fired. And those missiles are a lot more expensive than the ship they were used to sink. Strikes and anti-war demonstrations are still rumored to take place in Great Britain. If we could get some of the other countries, that would be great. Woo! Free range increase. For whatever that's worth. Germany lost a destroyer, but the Americans lost 3 destroyers. That's a good trade, Germany. Keep that up. Tensions between France and Russia decrease because they are both upset with us. That's a shame. That's a crying shame for us. Oh well. We have a... Okay, so you need to go to the South Pacific. You need to be added to a division, and you're also going to join that one. I don't recall. Light cruiser divisions, are they 5 or 6 ships? I think they might be 5. But it's been so long since we've actually had a full light cruiser division, so I don't recall in the slightest. Oh well, that's fine. Suos need refits as well. Yeah, that's not happening right now. French Navy realizes they can't. What's this? Many officers seem to be impressed, or to have the impression that Kaigen Daisa Ichi, unassigned, is rather too cautious and weak-willed. Having him dismissed from the service would encourage the proper offensive spirit. Sure. I mean, we don't know enough about him to be able to say, but he's not doing anything anyway, so... Oh, that's a bad trade, Germany. That's a bad trade. Destroyer and a light cruiser in exchange for a destroyer? No. It's not what you want. Steel shortages? Really? I mean, I guess. Whatever you say, game. I don't agree, if I'm honest. But I guess I'll just have to live with it, even though, again, I don't agree. Now we just gotta find this thing. Which we're claiming some destroyers up there, but our heading has us heading out this way. Oh, hey. That's what we're looking for. Fire at will. Okay, yep, you're gonna break off because you need to head to port. We are out of SSMs. Yep. Fortunately, our guys did not do a particularly great job at the whole... Damn. Hitting the target thing, which is kind of important. So this might actually be a loss. Unless the Matsukaze here manages to pull something out of its ass. Which I don't think it's gonna do, realistically. Oh, well, maybe, actually. It did a fair bit of damage to that one. But yeah, no, it's not going to. And I don't see the Namikaze making it to base before it burns down. So we actually lost the battle in this war. So set that to auto run. And we kind of at this point just have to wait, and maybe our planes will do something useful, but probably not. We just got unlucky that all of our missiles missed. Well, theirs hit. And surprise, that makes a world of difference. Well, but one of them did end up getting sunk, but nonetheless, we still lost 3, so they win that one. Tensions with China reduced because they feel too weak to challenge us, so nothing particularly exciting there. You go to the South Pacific as well. Okay, yeah, no, they max out at 5. Wonderful. So that answers that question. I just need Germany to not get blockaded. If I'm completely honest, that's the only thing I need. So long as Germany doesn't get blockaded, we can just sort of eke out an ever slow victory. Okay, do we invade the Solomon Islands as well? While we're at it, because why not? Or do we avoid putting all of our eggs in one basket and maybe invade something in the Indian Ocean? I'm inclined to say let's not put all our eggs in one basket. Let's go ahead and invade Zanzibar. Widespread demonstrations and serious disturbances are reported in Great Britain. Wonderful. Our unrest is getting up there a little bit as well. We took Papua literally the turn after, and we are invading Zanzibar without any resistance. Germany did not provide a whole lot that time. That's a bit of a shame. Looks like nothing about tensions again. That's fine. We'll jump back to the South Pacific and take over the Solomon Islands. I think we're going to switch to prize rules again. We need to try to do as much damage as we can. You guys are going to head for Northern Europe. The reality is, actually, I'm almost inclined to send basically all of our subs to Northern Europe. Because I just don't think they're doing a whole lot in Southeast Asia and the Indian Ocean. I just imagine there's probably not that much traffic in terms of merchant shipping, realistically. Sure, we can look into a new jet attack. Not that it really matters. We'll do range and reliability, I think. That was a bad trade for Germany. And again, I suppose that one's fine. The Germans didn't lose anything, although they didn't sink something particularly important. Another bad trade for Germany. I really wish I could see what our merchants were doing. And the reality is, all I'm seeing is what their raiders and submarines are doing, but not really how ours are. But again, I'm really thinking it is because our subs are just not in great spots. If I turn auto move subs on, what are you guys going to do? I don't know. I'm going to go ahead and just send everybody to Northern Europe at this point. All of those guys are going to Northern Europe. Tsukuba is in for 2 turns. It would take 4 to do any sort of refit on you. We could give you the close-in weapon system. Anything more than 6 is not particularly useful. You're still over on your topside capacity, so I would need to find another way to lower that. Drop a fair few secondaries, more than I would like. Or AA directors, because AA directors are expensive in terms of weight. There we go. I think that works. You'll be in there for 2 more turns, and it's going to take you to finish dealing with your condenser issues. But the reality is, you're in there anyway, and an extra 2 turns I don't think is going to make that big of a difference. So go ahead and do that. The rest of yours is in Southeast Asia, so you head to Southeast Asia if you're not already there. Which I know the one that I needed to move is not. Okay, the British have brought their fleet back to the Indian Ocean, which means the Germans might be able to blockade France for a turn or 2. Because the British are going to sit here for a while before they turn around to say, oh crap, the French are being blockaded. We need to help them. Okay, we invade the Solomons without any resistance. The British declined to fight us there. They declined to fight us there. British Raider, auto-resolve. We're not going to try to fight that. Just not worth it. Another submarine, couple ships. Having condenser problems. US destroyer off the coast of South American East Coast, in turn due to mechanical problems. We took Zanzibar. Looks like our, I don't know, Marines, I guess, are just, getting really good at this whole invading thing. It's not a great trade, Germany. You lost a light cruiser in exchange for a destroyer. French armored cruiser has been interned in a neutral port due to lack of fuel. I don't know where it was interned. American light cruiser also interned. Okay, here we go. We're doing a bit better at the whole sinking merchants thing. That's wonderful. Here we go. Sinkings of merchant shipping by raiders and submarines are causing a shortage of oil fuel in Great Britain. Yeah, this is all going swell for us. Tensions with Germany is reduced as we are at war with their historical enemy. Okay, great, but also we don't have tensions with Germany, so they just went negative. if the game actually let them go negative. I don't think it does, though. What the hell are the British doing sending such a large... Oh shit, are they going for South Pacific? I think they might be going for the South Pacific. Hopefully not. In the meantime, we're going to invade Kenya. Also, technically, guys, we don't need to naval invade Kenya. The army can do it for us. We just need to help them send a couple of troops to Tanganyika, and then they can drive across the border into Kenya. We literally do not need to naval invade Kenya. Heck, if we wanted to, we could also send the army from Djibouti through Somalia to Kenya, if we wanted to, technically speaking. But we won't do that. Okay, we will probably decline this battle because I think we'll be stupid to try to actually fight them in the South Pacific. But I guess it depends on what they have. Our intel is apparently such crap that all we can say is they have some battleships and supporting forces participating in the battle. Estimated enemy forces in the area... it's only about 400 VP. I'm going to decline that, honestly. Let's see, there have been altercations in the mess. KD Sonata, below average disciplinarian, complained that the ship's band of CV Iburi can only play opera and not marches, whereupon KD Nakahara, unknown, called him an uncultured martinet. Now KD Sonata threatens a transfer to the army, and KD Nakahara wants to accept a post at the State Opera Administration. I mean, they're both kind of shit, let's be real here. Sonata, you would be a great asset to the army. Have fun. Because in your case, I know you're crap. The other guy might actually be good and I just don't know it yet. Oh, I could have sent you for a rebuild. It still would have taken you a bit longer than what you'd actually get out of it. But I could have sent you for a rebuild. Giving you the electro-optical director. Oh well, that's fine. It's not worth sending you now, at this point, honestly. Oh, I didn't realize one of our, the destroyer we were building before finished, finally. Wonderful. Let's, I think, queue up another one. Just the one for now. Though realistically, I should be queuing up more. But we'll do just the one for now. Auto-resolve that. We're not going to try to fight that. Widespread demonstrations and serious disruptions are reported in Great Britain. Another U.S. destroyer seeks internment in a neutral port. Don't say anything about tensions. Again, send our guys to Northern Europe. You're in for one turn. What can I do with you that might be worthwhile? Well, I can give you the close-in weapon system. So that's an immediately obvious thing to do. And I'm perfectly fine getting rid of all of your heavy, or it's not heavy, but all of your AA directors. It's not like they're actually doing anything useful because you don't actually have any heavy A factor. Why the hell did you have AA directors? Might I ask? I don't know. You should not have had them because they're literally doing nothing for you. Is it worth doing this? Because you're going to be out of the action for 3 more turns than what it's taking you to get back into the action for your condenser problems. But you are going to come out of this in exchange with a close-in weapon system, which might be helpful for shooting down missiles. I believe only missiles targeting you. However, I want to note, I don't think the close-in weapon system in this game is capable of engaging missiles that are heading for another target. But I could be wrong about that. I've not tested it. I don't believe it's mentioned in the manual one way or the other. Although I don't think I've looked too closely at the manual to actually determine that with 100% certainty, so maybe it is. Don't know. It's not that expensive, it's not that time, it's only an extra 3 turns. I'm sure we'll be fine if the Asau is out of the battle for an extra 3 turns. Actually, now that I think about it, you probably used to have secondary guns and that's why you had AA directors. I just forgot to remove them back in the day, probably. Not that that's relevant in any real way, but nonetheless, it's something to say. Well, yeah, I think we're going to go ahead and do that. So let's start from scratch. Remove all the AA directors. I want 6 light AA guns with CIWS checked. The Asau is going to go in. It'll be back in 4 turns. The other Kinogasas will go through the refit as well. Maybe, possibly in the future. It just kind of depends. The British are on their way back to the Indian Ocean, I guess. They can't quite make up their mind where they want to go. Our forces have taken the Solomon Islands. Wonderful. Tensions between US and Russia decrease because both have tense relations with Japan. Tensions between Germany and Italy increase because of the bombastic leaders in Germany. That's a shame. I don't really need Italy joining in the war on the side of the British and the French, although luckily it looks like their tensions are not. Wait, what? Okay, apparently Italy and Germany are allies. Okay, that's... When the hell did that happen? Also, as it turns out, I know at the start of last part we went through a quick PowerPoint and I referred to us as the not axis. Well, apparently sometime between then and now, and I completely missed the memo, Germany and Italy are allies. And I'm allies with Germany. Therefore, outside of us not being fascist, I think Italy might be. Italy is fascist. But Germany and us are not fascist. So we are like do I say 2/5 of the way? I don't know. We're a little more than half of the way, I'll say, towards being fascist. Or not fascist, but being the Axis. The only thing we're missing, and hopefully it doesn't happen, is also being at war with Russia. That's about the only thing we're missing. We are so damn close to fighting World War II in 1969. Which is probably not a fun time to be trying to fight World War II, if we're completely honest. Because I do not think it would be fun to try to fight World War II with missiles. Um, ooh, okay. That's an interesting development that Italy and Germany are apparently allies, but tensions don't really seem to be going up all that much with Italy and the British and the French, at least that I've seen in the messages, unless I've completely missed them every turn. They don't seem to be going up all that much. So I don't think Italy's likely to join in anytime soon, which is a shame because Italy is actually a worthwhile ally in this war. And hey, they would have basically free reign over the Mediterranean. They could invade Egypt, Cyprus. I don't think they could take Corsica. No, they could take Corsica. Corsica is not a home region. For some reason, I thought it was. They could invade Algeria and then Gibraltar. They could secure the Mediterranean, with the only thing they're not able to take being southern France. And Tunisia, unless Russia joins in on the war. So, and then they could move to Northern Europe to help the Germans provide more ships for fighting in Northern Europe, which would be helpful for maybe blockading the French or the British, maybe both if we're really lucky. Because Italy could put 800 base capacity worth of ships in Northern Europe. In our case, that would actually be sending like our entire fleet plus more ships. So we can't do it, but Italy certainly could. Italy certainly could send some ships to Northern Europe after they secured the Mediterranean, and they could secure the Mediterranean without any major resistance, because the British are the only ones who move their fleet around in any significant capacity, and they would not be able to just stay situated in the Mediterranean to attack the Italians, because if they do, then the French potentially get blockaded in Europe, or in Northern Europe specifically. So if the Italians could secure the Mediterranean without resistance, again, like I said, they could move ships into Northern Europe and help out the Germans. And if they help out the Germans, the war ends sooner, potentially with a revolution in Great Britain or France. But we haven't really seen anything regarding unrest in France, so I'm inclined to say probably Great Britain. In which case, we could all potentially take a boatload of territory off of the British if we felt so inclined. Again, Italy, I know we don't really get along all that much, although I don't think we've ever fought each other because we don't really have any common territories. The only exception is Eritrea ever since I took over Djibouti. But nonetheless, we don't really have much in common in terms of territories. And I would say we probably didn't really get along all that much. I do believe we were allies a few times throughout this campaign. I know you want to kick Britain and France's ass. So do it. Join the war against them. We can become the not quite Axis and just take over our respective parts of the world. Now, granted, your respective part of the world will be just the Mediterranean, but I'm sure you'll be fine with just that, right? You can drain the Mediterranean if you decide you wanted to do that. I don't know why you would, but you could. And nobody could stop you. The Spanish could resist, but in that case, you just invade Spain as well. Oh, okay. God, I really hope Italy joins in. I hope the war goes long enough for Italy to join. I really, really wholeheartedly hope it does, because I would love to see that. Auto-resolve that. Strikes and anti-war demonstrations are rumored to take place in Great Britain. I feel like we're stepping down in terms of the unrest in Britain, which is a shame. Great, you got me the blueprints of a light cruiser, or not light cruiser, a light carrier. Don't really care. Fighting in Kenya continues. It's a shame we're not taking over Kenya as quickly as we're taking over some of these other regions. Oh, yep, there goes the British Navy. It's abandoned the area. Well, outside of me launching an invasion of Madagascar too, because why the hell not? We can. There's not a whole lot of reasons for us really to... We don't really have much to do now. Don't let them get off lightly. Continued operations will secure our total victory. Wonderful. There we go, we took Kenya. Come on, Italy. Increase tensions. Russia and France go down. Come on, Italy. Go to war with France. Or Britain. Or both. I'm perfectly fine with both. Both is acceptable. Both is actually preferred in many ways. Especially Britain. Oh, there's an American destroyer apparently in Northeast Europe for reasons that are just completely unknown to me. Okie dokie. Well, let's continue on. My timer is about to go off. Got less than a minute on it, but that's fine. New U.S. destroyer, or not destroyer, helicopter, rumored to be faster than our fastest. That's fine. With our fleet firmly in control of the waters in the Indian Ocean, our troops have invaded the French possession, Madagascar. Food is becoming scarce in Great Britain due to submarine sinkings of merchant ships. Wonderful. Sinking of merchant shipping by raiders and submarines are causing a shortage of oil fuel in Great Britain. Wonderful. I don't know how that actually impacts things. I legitimately do not know. Does that actually increase the chance of ships being interned or anything like that due to lack of fuel? Because if so, that's great. But I don't know if it actually does anything. I'll have to review the manual. Oh, apparently we're suffering fuel shortages as well, which is surprising considering that I feel like we shouldn't be. Also, apparently somehow Germany is getting ships, merchants, tankers, filled with oil, past the Royal Navy and whatever the hell the French Navy's called, and the US Navy, if they happen to go into the Americas at all, which I'm assuming they're not. I'm guessing they're going Northern Europe, Mediterranean, Indian Ocean, Southeast Asia, then Northeast Asia. I assume that's the route they're taking, because it's the only one that makes any damn sense. And granted, of course, I'm also assuming that we're getting it via ships. For all I know, maybe the Germans have bribed every country on land between us and them to the point where they're able to transport it via railroads or something all the way to Korea, where we then put it on a ship and ship it to Japan. I very much doubt that that is the case, of course. But hey, what do I know? But, okay, yeah, I mean, that's still interesting no matter how that's going. The British have apparently decided that they are going to, yet again, send their fleet to through the Mediterranean, which also they've sent a larger version of it this time around. So I'm curious if this time we'll get a couple of turns of blockading the French, but who knows. The French do have a decent sized fleet. Actually, it roughly matches the German one, so probably not. This is why Italy needs to join. But unfortunately, it looks like tensions for Italy between Britain and France for Italy are both going down, unfortunately, which really sucks because I really need Italy to join in. That would help us immensely. We're so close to the end, though. Like I said, I think now that I think about it, I think the game does end when it ticks over to 1970. We're going to try to power through these next couple of turns, and hopefully nothing major happens. Auto resolve that because I'm not going to fight a raider battle. We've taken Madagascar. Tensions. Don't say anything about tensions there. Whew, goddamn that. Oh shit. Oh my god. Oh, what the fuck are the French doing? Did the French decide they had to come save Madagascar, but they decided to do it like the turn before we actually managed to take it over? What the hell are you thinking, France? Well, Britain and France are now being blockaded by Germany, and they're going to be blockaded for about a turn or two. I don't know what they were thinking. I legitimately do not know. And I think the answer is probably they weren't thinking. Because if they were, they would have realized that was a stupid idea. Yep, okay, yeah, it's 1970. So it is the end of year 1970, which is not true. It is end of year 1969, or you should say it is the end of year or it is the start of year 1970. It is not the end of the year 1970. It is literally going to be January 1970 next turn. The game is over. Now, of course, we could continue. The regular game is over. If you want to, you can continue playing, but technical development will level out. There will be a hard cutoff at 1990. I'm almost inclined to say I kind of want to finish this war, actually have it end. This is the war we've been waiting for, for basically the entire frickin' campaign. Is a war against Britain and France in particular. I didn't really care if the US joined or not. They have nothing I want. And a war where we handedly, it looks like, win. And I was going to say unfortunately. I really wish we got a bit more of a fight from the US, but they've just realized they don't have the base capacity to fight us. And for some reason they're not going to Northern Europe to help against Germany. I legitimately do not know what's going on there. But the US is basically saying, we're not going to leave the places where we have possessions. I mean, they came into Southeast Asia for a little bit and then left. Same with the South Pacific. They came in, they left. And recently it seems like they've just decided to straight up stay away going forward because they don't know what to do with their navy. Their absolutely stupidly large frickin' navy. Because it is 3 million tons. And they don't know what to do with it. But whatever. End the game? Are you joking? I want to continue. Let's see. I really don't know what the AI is doing. I'm legitimately curious as to what the hell their plan is, but I think we're gonna have to wait till next part because yeah, I don't really have the time for that because I really do think that this time if I click end turn, we will probably actually get a battle. I mean, maybe not, but I think we will. So we're gonna go ahead and end this part here at the start of January 1970. The game, the regular game, is over. We are now in the extended 20 years that we have until 1990 when there's a hard cutoff. We're not going to play till then. We're going to play to the end of this war, which I have a hard time believing will go until 1990. If it does, I don't fucking know what I'll do. But I don't think it'll go that far. It's probably like maybe another year at most. Especially if Britain and France proceed to both keep their navies out of Northern Europe for some godforsaken reason. I do not know why both of them left. But they did. Which just makes our life easier. Now the reality is we're not invading anything anymore. There's nothing we can invade. Or if there is, I don't care for it. Like, I don't care to invade South Africa. We could. I mean, how funny would it be? Japanese South Africa? Ha ha ha. But, it's whatever. It really is. I don't care. And I don't care to try to step into Italy's territory and try to take over, you know, Egypt to get control over the Suez. Although, I will say, taking over the Suez could be fun, because if we own the Suez, nobody can go through it except for us and our allies. It's the same reason why taking over Panama is useful. We notice that the US is seemingly not using the Panama Canal to move their ships. I believe if the canals are neutral, nobody can use them if they are at war. So the US cannot use the Panama Canal to move their fleets because they don't own Panama anymore. They lost it, or they never had it. I don't think in the 1890s start the US has Panama, but I might be misremembering. But if they did have it before, they lost it. And if they never had it, they just for some reason never got it. But either way, the end result is effectively the same. They cannot use it, so they have to go around South Africa. Or not South Africa, South America. And every time they go around South America, there is a chance that some of their ships will get interned in neutral ports. Which is great for us. So, I mean, technically, if I could take over the Suez, that would be great for me, because then the British can't use it. But then I also need to have a sizable fleet in the Mediterranean to protect ourselves, which I just don't see us doing, because Egypt is not worth that much base capacity. It's only 50. So, we'd have a hard time really defending it, in my opinion. And that's not even considering the fact that it would be a pain to try to take. So, yeah, at this point, we don't really have anything to spend our money on outside of building more ships, which we should be doing more of realistically. So let's build another destroyer. I could use to have another Yakaze. Will it be out before this series ends? I don't know. We'll see. It's got 20 months. We'll find out. I was going to say next time, but that's not strictly true. Although, honestly, I would not be shocked if this war ends next part, but we'll see. But that'll be it for this part. I will see you all next time. Until then, goodbye and farewell.